Good morning from the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. So today, having a brief trip around Wiltshire. We'll be at the main moment visiting the Avebury Stone Circle and the West Kennet Avenue, and then we'll be on to Silbury Hill and West Kennet Long Barrow. And it states on this that the majority of monuments of the Avebury World Heritage Site are jointly managed by the National Trust and English Heritage. They offer a fascinating insight into Neolithic and Bronze Age life. Each site has its own story to tell about how the area has been used and who has lived here. The monuments are all within easy walking distance of each other, so why not take time to explore them on a beautiful landscape? Unfortunately, I am not walking, I'll be driving. So West Kennet Avebury Stone Circle henges are intriguingly monuments built in the British Isles between 4,000 and 5,000 years ago. Roughly circular, they usually have a bank outside the ditch. Avebury is one of the biggest and contains the remains of the largest prehistoric stone circle in the world. West Kennet Avenue once ran south from Avebury Henge over a mile to Overton Hill and contained about 200 standing stones. Most of the standing stones have gone, but the third nearest henge was restored in the 1930s. There is access to most of the stone circle and to the West Kennet Avenue, including the restored part of the avenue. So we're going to take a brief walk over and start out at Avebury Manor and Garden and the old farmyard. Currently standing in the farmyard of the medieval Avebury Manor farm. Straight ahead of you we can see a fantastic representation of a dovecote. And the old barn adjacent is equally as beautiful. Some work going on. This is actually a National Trust building, which I've just realised. So we're going to have a quick mooch around here and then we're going to go around the So here's another view of the medieval dovecot and the Saxon church in the background. And here we are at the start of the Avebury Stone Circle, scheduled monument and ancient sacred site. And as you can see, the stone avenue goes on for some. And there you see the boy child of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. I'm not going to bore you with details because inevitably I'm no expert on the site. So it's more than likely that I will get things wrong. There's people far more learned than me who will be able to tell you, hopefully in the comments to this video. But otherwise, obviously look on the National Trust site for the Avebury information, or simply Google it. So another view at the Avebury Circle again. The National Trust barns and the Anglo-Saxon church in the background. And onto the stones. And for anybody who hasn't been before, this is quite a large site. The circle is quite big, and as you can also see, it's still surrounded by the ditch that surrounded it in ancient times. Across the road to the other side of the village, on the other side of the stones, some beautiful thatched cottages. And then these beauties. If you can see there's a fantastic bit of simulacra there, a green man face in that rock. I could see it. Just a brief final look at the Red Lion. Sorry for the noise of the wagons coming past. Probably get a beep. Someone beep. Maybe not. This is the village of Avebury. As I say, it's a massive site. You can take hours meandering around, taking all the stones and then such like. Unfortunately, I've got a busy day, so we're off to Silbury Hill next and West Kennet Long Barrow. Hopefully we'll see some crop circles, because it's I saw my first ever crop circle next to West Kennet Long Barrow, And we'll also hopefully see the White Horse near Marlborough, which again, it's not worth me trying to explain because there's people far more learned than I. And then we'll be on to Stonehenge, and then hopefully a trip down the Cheddar Gorge to end the day before I carry on the road to my destination in Devon. Just a quick note in the village, if anybody's looking for any books or anything else of interest in Avebury concerning the stone circle and other historical such like paraphernalia, try the hen shop. Hell of a lot in there, and it's also very in the way of new age and witchery as well for those interested. But some excellent books and local fossils and stones in there too. Here we are at Silbury Hill. Silbury Hill is Europe's largest man-made prehistoric mound. It was constructed over a short period between 2400 and 2300 BC. We don't know the purpose of Silbury Hill or the meaning of it held for the late Neolithic people who built it. The monument you see today was not conceived and built in a single campaign but grew larger over several generations. Perhaps different people brought soil and chalk from their own neighbouring lands, bringing communities together. Over time, the project became more ambitious, with huge quantities of chalk dug from the surrounding ditch to build the mound. Archaeologists found perfectly preserved insects, green turf and moss all over 4,000 years old within the early phase of the mound. These indicate that the area was pasture while Silbury Hill was being built. First, people stripped the topsoil and stones from the ground, then a small mound of gravel was built with material perhaps brought from the nearby river Kennet. A ring of stakes was set out to define a larger area, 16 metres in diameter, into which basket loads of mud and dark soils were tipped. Small heaps were constructed nearby, and some pits, probably relating to ceremonial activity, were dug into the central mound. People continued to add soil, turf, and creating a mound 35 metres in diameter and about 5 metres high. A massive enclosing ditch with an internal bank was then dug 100 metres in diameter. It was backfilled and recut several times. A series of chalk banks were added to the mound and infilled, increasing its size and backfilling the ditch. Then a new enormous water-filled ditch was dug beyond it, allowing the chalk mound to be further enlarged. Numerous antiquarians and archaeologists have been in the site, which I'm not sure, but I don't think you can actually climb up as you once were able to. And that is Silbury Hill, which, just over that bank, is Avebury. So next on the list, that's the reverse of Silbury Hill. Adjacent over the road, and a short walk up the hill, to that bump in the distance, is West Kennet Long Barrow. The last time I came here was 20 years ago, and I was gobsmacked. It's the burial place of around 36 people from around 3650 BC. West Kennet Long Barrow is a link to the early Neolithic period of southern Britain. Bodies of adults and children were placed in the 5 chambers in the eastern end of the 100-metre long mound. These chambers have been excavated and emptied and can now be visited at any time. So, for those of you who haven't visited the area, we'll be able to take a tour inside of the West Kennet Long Barrow, which is, again, 20 years ago since I last came, but from what I can remember, a fantastic experience. And I'm sure people who haven't been to the UK, who visit the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, or people who are in the UK but haven't yet visited this area of Wiltshire, will find this as fascinating as I do. Again, interestingly, the field adjacent, the hill, was where I first witnessed a crop circle, obviously man-made. Interestingly, when we were travelling down the road there is a crop circle museum and exhibition centre on this road, which I don't be visiting today because it'll be more or less people saying it's creatures from outer space or underground energies who are making it. Unfortunately, I don't subscribe to them theories after many years in another guise researching such phenomena. So, off up to West Kennet Long Barrow. This is West Kennet Long Barrow. I'm hoping the light source will be okay and you'll be able to see pretty well. I'm sure there's a swift's nest in here, as you've just seen one passing. 36 remains were found in here. Amongst all the different chambers. And actually, it's beautiful currently because it's so cool compared to the heat outside. Many offerings left by people as well. Flowers, straw, stones, shells. Little air hole up above. Just let the air flow. That's the outer view. And interestingly, just I'm about to start filming, I got chatting to a gent outside who's a former metal detectorist who stopped detecting in 2002 at the outbreak of the British foot and mouth disease, where obviously nobody could get on any land in any way, shape or form because of the potential risk of infection and the carrying of disease to other sites. So that's the inside of West Kennet Long Barrow. I'll now have to stop to make a few photos and then I'll be outside again to do a finishing. I'm now stood on the top of West Kennet Long Barrow, just over the road, Silbury Hill, and I'm going to do a 360 degree just to show you the panorama. There's Archaeology Boy. That's the stretch, as you can see, of the long grass. That's the stretch of West Kennet Long Barrow. The rolling hills in the distance. The entrance stones to the Barrow. What a view this would have been, imagine 2,500 years ago. The times of Neolithic man in this landscape. No roads, no cars, no planes, no electric pylons, and probably no people. It's the entrance point to West Kennet Long Barrow. And this is probably where I'm going to end up struggling again, because as you may have noticed, if I'm speaking out loud I'm fine, if I'm reading I stutter. So West Kennet Long Barrow is a Neolithic burial mound dating back about 5,500 years. It's one of the largest and best preserved examples of a chambered tomb in southern England. The barrow was built 1,000 years before Silbury Hill. It was constructed from local sarsen stone and limestone and topped with chalk dug from the two side ditches which have now silted up. Excavations have revealed that the barrow was used as a communal tomb. At least 46 people were buried here over a 1,000-year period. The chamber contains the remains of a cross-section of the community, men, women, and from the very young to the very old. A few complete skeletons were found intact. It appears that bones were rearranged or something removed altogether, possibly for ritual purposes. About 4,000 years ago, the tomb was deliberately filled in and the entrance blocked. In 1859, John Thurnham excavated the western chamber and central passage. He was apparently unaware of the existence of the other chambers, which were not excavated until 1955 by Stuart Piggott and Richard Atkinson. Analysis of the human bones has shown that arthritis and toothache were common complaints in Neolithic times. So that's West Kennet Long Barrow. We'll have a little blue walking away. And I'll try and get a piece in, past the hugging mother and daughter saddler, of Silbury Hill with West Kennet Long Barrow in the foreground. There we go, just as we go round the corner. So, next stop should be Stonehenge. Unfortunately, it won't be a closer view of Stonehenge because it probably costs a fortune to get in there. But we're going to see it anyway. Right, an inadvertent stop. Obviously, I know all about this, but I didn't realise I was passing on my road to Stonehenge. This is Woodhenge. When I get over to that board in a moment, I'll be able to tell you all about it. We're at Woodhenge, standing at the entrance to a timber monument with 6 oval rings of posts built at the same time as Stonehenge. The wooden posts are a variety of sizes, with those in the largest ring possibly standing up to 9 metres tall. The oval rings were broadly aligned in the direction of the midsummer sunrise and the midwinter solstice, the same as Stonehenge. You might be able to make out a low ditch to the left and the right. This is a henge built to enclose the site. 2 standing stones, probably sarsen, were also added to the monument. Don't know how Woodhenge was used, but people placed many objects and animal bones amongst the posts, even after some had them rotted. These included grooved ware pottery, carved chalk objects, antler picks and flint tools. Fragments of human bones were also found here, as well as 2 later burials, a child near the centre, today marked by a flint cairn, and a young man in a ditch. In 1925, an aerial photograph revealed rings of dark spots within what was assumed to be a ploughed burial mound. Over the following 2 years, archaeologists Maud and Benjamin Cunnington excavated the site, uncovering the post holes, recognising similarities in the layout and orientation to nearby Stonehenge. Maud named the site Woodhenge and had the holes marked with the coloured concrete pillars to help the visitors understand the site. So obviously, well, let's look first. You can just see the contour of land changing, curving round each side of Woodhenge, which nowadays, unfortunately, is just concrete blocks. Obviously the wood has rotted, gone away, but has in turn, by English Heritage, had the posts replaced with the concrete bollards, therefore able for individuals to be able to see what the site was like originally. Nevertheless, the site obviously was of some importance, and it also marks part of a route that directly goes towards Stonehenge Avenue. That's where the child's burial was, at the centre. This whole area was covered with different type of burial mounds, other henges of consequence, and villages and houses of the people of that time. Again, fantastic 360-degree view. Makes you wonder what it was like in times gone by. So, on to Stonehenge. Just a brief video. We're entering the Stonehenge World Heritage Site, and this is why they want to build a tunnel, because the traffic is absolutely terrible. Don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to take a while. Well, unfortunately I wasn't able to make Stonehenge due to the traffic in the area. Instead, this is the beautiful bluff at Ilfracombe. This is Verity, which is a sculpture by renowned artist and sculptor Damien Hirst, whoever that is. And this, St. Nicholas's Chapel. I'm in Ilfracombe. Hope this video has been to your interest and you've enjoyed it. I'm Dave Sadler from the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine.